employers having to provide health care for their workers. Their workers are entitled to the same delay providing it for themselves. To Gretchen Hamel, Lenore Hawkins, and Christian Dorsey. Gretchen, what's really at stake here?
Well, what's really at stake is individuals having to undergo and have the big burden of Obamacare be resting on them this next year. Here we are, we've had small businesses and businesses being delayed on the employer mandate, but individuals are still going to have to be signing up for these plans next year because this whole plan hinges upon young people to shoulder the burden of the older generations to be paying more in premiums for the next year to fund Obamacare in the future.
You know what I don't understand is some inconsistency out of Republicans, because yesterday they were talking, no, Mr. President, you can't change this because it's the law, a law that they were against. Today they're saying, no, if you're going to do it for the bosses, you have to do it for the minions, which I can understand, but it's either all in or all out. I just don't understand that Republican position.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is about, the Republicans have tried 38 times to repeal Obamacare in the House. This is just another attempt at trying to do what they've been successful in doing for 4 years. Everyone knows that the individual mandate is key to making this work affordably and efficiently. You get rid of that.
So why, Christian, didn't the White House then ease the angst it's getting now by just pushing it back for everybody?
Well, the White House has handled this whole thing poorly. I will freely admit that. But, the individual mandate has been in play in Massachusetts for over 5 years, and it has proven to reduce costs in the individual insurance market to make the whole thing work. So that's why you don't want to delay it, because if you delay that particular piece, Neil, then the whole thing just ought to be delayed, and there's no reason to do that.
Well, here's what I worry about, Lenore. Where right now it's falling apart because all the financial underpinnings, all the ways it makes money are drying up. Fewer young people signing up, low-wage workers able to afford signing up, the uninsured even interested in signing up, and now the companies that were going to be the buttress for this delayed in having to fork out. So they're running out of financing options. What do they do?
Oh, absolutely. And this is also showing that there's no respect for the rule of law. Here we've got where the government is attempting to take over about 15% of the economy. With 4 years' notice, they still can't get it together to just track information. And now we've got, again, where they're saying, well, Congress is going to pass a series of laws, and they're past this CARE Act, exactly what the Obama administration wanted, but now we're going to give the Treasury discretion over when it implements and how much it implements. I mean, where does that end? Does it get to delay it 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? When does Congress ever pass something and then give another part of the government discretion as to whether or not they're going to actually implement?
Well, some of our biggest laws and entitlements, whether you're for or against them or not, there is a history to how bumpy they start out. Medicare is a good example. Many Republicans will argue a great example in terms of the little thing starting to be a huge, monstrous thing. But be that as it may, from some of FDR's programs to even what JFK came up with domestic initiatives, rocky starts, many returns to the well to fix things. So how is this any different? Gretchen, what do you say?
Well, it's not really any different, and you could make the argument that things haven't even been fixed with Medicare, which has $50 billion worth of fraud every year. You look at the IRS and what the IRS has been doing and receiving bonuses and misusing taxpayer funds. You can look across the government and see the incompetence that the government has executed over the course of the past few years, and now they're going to be dealing with our health care and our personal choices with our health care. Our premiums have gone up, our plans are changing, and there's going to be doctor shortages. So of course there's going to be bumps along the way. It does not show, no matter how much glitz and glamour they put on with a PR campaign, it's not going to cover up that this is a flawed law that will have flawed execution.
All right, be that as it may, Christian, the bottom line is that it's an unpopular law right now, and 1 out of 10 Americans like it. So that means 9 out of 10 don't. Now, it might prove to live up to those expectations that you might have, but it's a tough sell job right now because a lot of folks are hearing their doctors don't like it, their specialists don't like it, radiologists don't like it. No two medical professionals can agree on it. Right. I begin to wonder whether Nancy Pelosi did indeed read it and know what was in it and just didn't want to say it.
Neil, we have to stop pretending that the Affordable Care Act is some novel construct, as much as Obama would like to pretend that it is.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. The major tenets of how this is going to work nationally have been in place in Massachusetts for over 5 years. We know how it's going to work if anybody cares to actually read the bill and study what's happened in Massachusetts. We've got to stop pretending that this is some
argue that
radical
years
new
into this,
concept.
though, Christian, this is not happening. Something went wrong, that something is seriously wrong.
Because there's been a full frontal assault against it from the day the ink dried on the legislation. That we can all agree on.
It is the law. The fact of the matter, companies are leery about it. Doctors are seeing costs go up as a result of it. Healthcare premiums are rising because of it. I mean, that's not imaginary stuff, the responsibility of Republicans blasting it. That's just reality.
Yeah, but healthcare premiums rise anyway.
Well, they're rising a lot faster.
That's no excuse.
That's not what's going on.
All right, well,
are you telling me that you can attribute the rise in healthcare premiums to the Affordable Care Act?
I only know that.
I'd like for you to show me that.
No, Chris, what I'm saying, I know that wasn't supposed to happen, and it's happening. And it's happening more aggressively than they said it would. And I was there.
No, the promise was never that healthcare premiums wouldn't rise.
The president promised three things: that plans wouldn't change, premiums wouldn't go up, and there wouldn't be doctor shortages, and we've seen all three happen. So, yes, those promises were made, and those promises have been broken.
Lenore, can this thing be saved, or do Republicans practice a strategy of choking it?
No. You can't, this thing can't be saved. All it did, very simply, it increased the demand for medical services, while at the same time, it's suppressing the supply of them, because it's just not in a doctor's best interest anymore. I mean, they've made it more and more difficult to supply medical services, while at the same time increasing how many people are demanding them. Pretty simple economics teaches you prices are going to go up.
All right, we'll see. It's still early. We'll give it time. We'll see what's happening. Right now, it is a bumpy road. But, folks, always good having you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very, very much. We're going to be following all of this and some changes they're proposing.